It's me, Andy PMP. I'm going with EMBA 16 over to China. It's a place that I feel like I truly blend in and speak the language. And today's my last day of work before I go, so I can do all sorts of stuff and they'll generally forget about it. Anyways, time to flip off the neighbors and get going. So even though this is not the first time I've been to China, it's probably natural to have some preconceptions or questions. And one thing you should be aware of is China is not the US, and it's way different. So I thought I would ask some experts on Americana what their questions would be about China before I add some of my own in. So time to make a couple phone calls.
Are we supporting communism by buying all kinds of stuff from China?
Are the safety standards in China relaxed? And how can we ensure that high technology is secure in China?
How will Beijing clean up its air pollution in time for the Olympics?
So, as you can see, my family asked some fairly intelligent questions, and I come from pretty good stock, so I can't complain there. Even my kids and the dog are getting into the act. That's a good question. All that the dust is finally settled. It's pretty late on the night before I leave on my trip, March 5th. March 7th, the day we arrive there, is my birthday, believe it or not. And my wife got me a gadget. It's a translator, English, Chinese, or English into pretty much any language for phrases.
Does anyone here speak English?
Sounds useful. Let's try it in Mandarin.
这儿有人讲英语吗?
这儿有人说英语吗? That should get me by. It's a little bit before 6 in the morning, and I'm just getting ready to go to the airport. One of the hard things about leaving, obviously, is leaving my kids, but my son was sure enough to know that I went to bed at 1 in the morning, and of course he woke me up at 4 o'clock, and I stayed up with him until about 4:30. He just wasn't sick, he just didn't want to sleep. So I'll flip off my neighbors, one more time before I leave, and go there. Hey, what kind of preconceptions do you guys have about China? What do you think is happening there?
Probably not making turkey sandwiches like this, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would concur with that.
Crowded, hot, dirty.
My wife Kathy.
What do I want to learn? I want to learn about the culture. I want to understand how people do business differently than how we do in the U.S. I've done a lot of business with people from China and Korea in the past, so it'll be interesting to be over there because I've never been before.
To Beijing. I'm here with Lois, young lady of 85, and Hank, who's 86, and they've entertained me very well the whole flight over, so thanks to them. And geez, you should see the pollution. Hey, I'm here in Beijing after a long stinking flight, and I'm going to try out my new translator here. Friday, March 7th was the day we arrived here, and although it's March 8th now, I happened to kind of closed my eyes at about 8:30 and woke up and am wide awake at 3 in the morning on March 8th. Entire stinking day on an airplane, and then a couple hours trying to get checked into the hotel. Probably either the highlight or the low light was getting the wrong room key and bursting in on one of our classmates in his or her underwear. As I learned is I'm going to bring a lot less electronic stuff. I've got more electronic crap than an Asian kid here, and that was a big hassle on the plane. Try not to sit next to the elderly. I met Hank and Lois, two octogenarians who had maybe the sweetest story of any two people I've ever talked to, friends for 50 years. Even though they're very active, they didn't want to get up out of their chairs, and I was on the inside and was able to get up once briefly on the 12-hour flight. so that was kind of tough. I eat less on the plane. I counted my calories at about 3,000. I ate including an entire sleeve of Ruffles chips. Don't do that again. Patience is a virtue. Absolutely nothing has gone to plan today, and that's okay. Maybe most importantly, the Chinese have not mastered the club sandwich. I didn't have the energy to go out and eat tonight. I was just too tired, and I ordered a sandwich, and it sucked. Today is the 8th, and the big things that we're going to be doing today is going to Tiananmen Square. We're going to also be going to the Temple of Heaven, and finally the things that's interesting about the Forbidden City is we might be able to see Chairman Mao's preserved body. So I ran into the person that I accidentally saw in their skivvies yesterday. It is just a little awkward.
What are we looking at here? Tell me.
Forbidden City.
Forbidden City?
Yes.
What dynasty built it? No, I'm getting you in it.
No idea, man.
Man up. It's the babes of Thunderbird. Look at them. Make all the girls wave.
Work it, work it.
Really not that hard. This is where we take pictures of gringos in the Forbidden City. Gringo, 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 gringo. Gringo, gringo.
From Beijing, China, in the Forbidden City, and all we've learned today is about the sex habits of the emperor.
Tell me all about this place.
This is where all the concubines hung out.
The
Imperial concubines. They kicked it here.
Architecture, a lot of different, I'd say almost like inner city palaces where this emperor lived. Learned a lot about the concubines, which is almost a whole tour.
So like the north entrance, you have the Mao picture where you have that famous Tiananmen Square. That's the main entrance into the Forbidden City. So we came in through the southern entrance.
Emperor, concubine.
We've seen where the concubines sleep, we've seen where the concubines meet him, we've seen where they do it.
Okay, so the number of dragon dogs at the end of each roof determines the number or the importance of the official in that building.
How many dragon dogs do you have on your house?
I have probably 30.
Okay.
You know, but I overdid it just a little bit.
He overcompensates.
At the Temple of Heaven in Beijing, China, a very important part of the Asian culture here in China.
They're playing maybe the worst game of hacky sack known to man. Oh my God.
What I learned, that circle means God, square means earth.
Circle means heaven, and square means earth?
Yeah, yes.
That's
that
okay.
Too.
That's okay. It's not on the test.
Now, heaven, this is where animals were sacrificed for God, and the emperor would come like twice a year to do those services. And it's a round shape with 3 tiers. The different tiers mean different things.
Welcome to the Temple of Doom. This temple was used exclusively for human sacrifices.
Well, it's the end of the day on Saturday, March 8th. Today we went to the Forbidden City and also to Temple of Heaven. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get into Tiananmen. Pollution hit you like a ton of bricks in the face, as well as just horrible traffic. And I have no idea how they're gonna do the Olympics here because this was a Saturday, and it was. I learned that I am easily the best hacky sack player in the class. 'Cause I watched. It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. And then finally, I appreciate good infrastructure and having things work well. I am spoiled in the U.S.